What if I told you that from the moment you were born, you have never truly been alone? That in every shadow you feared, in every silent prayer you whispered, and even in the moments when you believed no one was listening, there was a presence, unseen yet deeply aware of you. Many traditions across the world whisper of such companions, the guardian angels. But what if the story we've been told is only the surface of a far deeper mystery? The idea of guardian angels is often softened into something sentimental, portrayed as winged protectors, hovering gently above a child's cradle, or guiding a lost traveler to safety. But within esoteric traditions, mystical writings, and ancient spiritual practices, the truth about guardian angels is far more profound. They are not merely distant protectors. They are bridges, living connections between the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine. Think for a moment about electricity. You cannot see it, but you feel its presence when a lamp suddenly brings a dark room to life. In much the same way, guardian angels are not always visible to the eye, but their influence runs like a hidden current through the fabric of our lives, illuminating, guiding, and sometimes even redirecting our paths entirely. Throughout history, mystics have insisted that these beings are not abstractions or symbols, but actual intelligences of light, existing in dimensions just beyond ordinary perception. They are said to walk with us, listen to us, and sometimes intervene in ways we may never fully recognize. Some describe them as fragments of divine consciousness assigned to each soul. Others believe they are messengers, part of a vast hierarchy of celestial beings, each one carrying wisdom and responsibilities beyond human imagination. In this video, we will journey into the hidden truth about guardian angels. First, we'll explore the historical and philosophical roots of this mysterious belief, tracing it back through ancient scriptures, mystical schools, and esoteric traditions that dared to map the invisible realms. Then we'll break down what guardian angels truly are, not as mere symbols, but as real forces of intelligence and guidance. But we won't stop at theory. This exploration is not about filling the mind with curiosity alone. It is about awakening something inside of you. Later, we will look at how you can actually cultivate awareness of your guardian angel, how to open yourself to their presence, and how to distinguish true guidance from illusion. Because in a world filled with noise and confusion, learning to sense that quiet, subtle voice of higher wisdom could be the difference between wandering lost and walking with purpose. By the end of this journey, you may come to see that guardian angels are not distant myths, but living presences woven into the very fabric of your existence. And perhaps you'll begin to notice the ways they've already been whispering in your life long before you knew to listen. So let us step into the unseen, where mysteries of light and consciousness await. The concept of guardian angels is not confined to one religion, one culture, or one moment in time. Instead, it appears like a golden thread woven through the spiritual tapestry of humanity, stretching across continents and centuries. To understand the hidden truth, we must first trace the echoes of this idea in the world's ancient traditions. In the ancient Near East, particularly within Mesopotamian belief, people held the conviction that each human life was accompanied by a divine being. These were often described as protective spirits, assigned at birth. They were not merely symbolic guardians, but active presences, believed to shield their charge from misfortune and to whisper guidance in moments of uncertainty. Even in Babylonian texts, we find mention of personal deities, spiritual intelligences who served as both protectors and recorders of human deeds. The Jewish mystical tradition elaborated on this idea with extraordinary detail.
In the book of Psalms, we read, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." Later mystical texts, such as the Zohar, describe angels as emanations of divine light, existing to help humans ascend toward higher understanding. The Kabbalists believed that guardian angels were not random assignments, but carefully chosen companions, aligned with the soul's unique purpose. Christianity inherited and expanded this vision. The early church fathers spoke often of angels not only as messengers, but as protectors intimately involved in human lives. Saint Basil the Great wrote, "Beside each believer stands an angel as protector and shepherd, leading him to life." The idea became so ingrained that by the Middle Ages, prayers to one's guardian angel were commonplace, with entire feasts dedicated to honoring their presence. Islam, too, teaches of angels assigned to every human being. In Islamic tradition, 2 angels, known as Kiraman Katibin, are said to record every deed, while others serve as guardians who shield from unseen dangers. The Quran describes them as beings who guard him by command of Allah. Here, guardian angels are not passive companions, but active agents of divine will. And yet, beyond the Abrahamic faiths, we find remarkably similar teachings. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Plato described the daimonion, a personal guiding spirit that whispered truth to the soul. Socrates famously claimed to hear his daimon, a voice that warned him when he was about to make a wrong choice. Later, the Romans adopted this concept as the genius, a spiritual double of each person, considered both guardian and inspirer of destiny. In Eastern traditions, the idea appears in different forms. Hinduism speaks of devas and spiritual guides who assist the individual soul along its karmic journey. Buddhism, particularly in the Vajrayana tradition, teaches of dharmapalas, protective beings who guard practitioners on the path toward enlightenment. Even in Shinto belief in Japan, ancestral spirits and kami are said to guide and protect the living. Across all of these traditions, one thing becomes clear. Humanity has always intuited the presence of unseen guides. Whether they are called angels, daimons, devas, or spirits, the message is universal. We are not left to wander blindly through the labyrinth of existence. Something or someone is watching, guiding, and protecting, drawing us closer to the higher purpose that our souls came here to fulfill. Philosophically, this raises profound questions. Are guardian angels external beings, separate from us, assigned by a higher order? Or are they projections of our higher self, appearing as other, so that we might hear what our ego refuses to recognize? Esoteric schools have debated this for centuries. Some argue that angels are actual cosmic intelligences, occupying dimensions of light beyond human perception. Others suggest that they are archetypal forces, faces of the divine mind woven into the psyche of every soul. Perhaps both are true. The mystery of guardian angels is not limited to one interpretation because it is as vast as consciousness itself. Like light, which can be both particle and wave, angels may be both external guides and inner reflections, beings who exist in their own right, yet also mirror the deepest truth of who we are. This paradox is what makes the study of guardian angels so compelling. It forces us to stretch beyond narrow definitions of reality, to consider that we are not just flesh and bone, but spiritual travelers walking in the company of higher intelligences. And as we move deeper into this exploration, we begin to see that the hidden truth of guardian angels is not simply about protection, but about awakening, helping us remember that we are never separate from the divine, even when we feel most lost.
If history has shown us that nearly every culture believed in guardian beings, the next question is, what are they, really? To move past images of soft-winged figures painted in churches or sentimental bedtime prayers, we must enter the realm of esoteric philosophy, where guardian angels are described not as myth, but as intelligences of light. Imagine for a moment that human life is like walking through a vast and intricate maze. The walls are high, the turns are confusing, and at every step there are choices, left, right, forward, or back. From inside the maze, it is nearly impossible to see where the paths lead. But imagine now that above the maze, a great being watches from above, able to see the entire structure at once. This is how many spiritual traditions describe the work of guardian angels. They perceive from a higher vantage point. They see beyond the immediate moment, beyond the illusions of time and ego, into the true pattern of the soul's journey. Guardian angels, according to esoteric teachings, are not merely tasked with keeping us safe. Their deeper role is to ensure that we remain aligned with the higher destiny that our soul has chosen, even when our human mind forgets. Think of them as cosmic navigators, gently nudging us back on course when we stray too far into paths of self-destruction or forgetfulness. Sometimes this nudge is subtle, a strange intuition, a sudden thought that says, wait. Other times it manifests dramatically, a last-minute change that saves us from disaster. Mystics often describe angels as beings made of pure light, without material bodies, whose essence resonates with divine will. In Hermetic philosophy, they are seen as intermediaries between man and the divine mind, channels of wisdom who transmit higher truth in ways the human heart can comprehend. In Kabbalah, they are said to be emanations, streams of divine energy shaped into intelligent form, each carrying a specific vibration and purpose. But here lies the hidden truth that is often overlooked. Guardian angels are not simply strangers assigned to us by chance. They are intimately bound to our own spiritual essence. Some traditions suggest that your guardian angel is in fact the higher dimension of your own soul, a perfected version of yourself that already exists in the divine realm. In this interpretation, your angel is not external, but the bridge between your present self and your eternal self. Consider the writings of the great mystic Meister Eckhart, who suggested that the angel is the part of us that never left God, the fragment of our soul that remains pure while we wander through the lessons of earth. When we feel the voice of guidance, it may not only be an external protector, but the call of our own higher self, reminding us of who we truly are. And yet esoteric Christian and Islamic mystics insisted on the independent existence of angels as vast, conscious beings, older than humanity itself. To them, angels were not projections of human psyche, but luminous companions who have walked beside countless souls across millennia. They are described as both witnesses and participants in our journey. Guardians, not because we own them, but because they serve divine order by helping us fulfill our unique role in creation. How do they operate? Through symbols, synchronicities, subtle impressions, and inner whispers. Rarely do angels appear with blinding light and thunderous voices, though history is filled with such accounts. More often, their guidance slips into the quiet spaces of the mind, an intuition you cannot explain, a dream that feels more real than waking, or a sudden moment of clarity that shifts your entire perspective. Esoteric schools warn us, however, that not every voice in the silence is angelic. The human mind is full of echoes, fears, and desires, and darker forces can masquerade as light. The role of the guardian angel, then, is not to command, but to invite. Their presence never violates free will. They do not drag us to our destiny. They hold the lantern, but we must choose to walk toward it. This distinction is crucial.
A guardian angel's work is subtle, patient, and deeply respectful of the soul's freedom. Like a master teacher, they allow us to stumble, even to fall, because the lesson must be ours to learn. But when the time is right, they intervene, sometimes with such precision that we later marvel at how everything seemed too perfect to be a coincidence. So the hidden truth begins to unfold. Guardian angels are not simply protectors in the worldly sense. They are guides of destiny, midwives of the soul's awakening, and mirrors of the divine self we are striving to remember. To recognize their presence is to admit that life is not random, that we walk through the labyrinth of existence accompanied by unseen intelligences who love us more deeply than we yet know.
If Part 1 revealed guardian angels as both protectors and mirrors of our higher self, then Part 2 requires us to step into the subtler and more paradoxical truths. For to understand angels, one must first understand paradox. They are both near and far, both personal and universal, both intimate companions and cosmic forces beyond imagination. Let us begin with their hierarchies. In many esoteric traditions, angels are not all the same. Christian mystics such as Dionysius the Areopagite described 9 choirs of angels: seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and angels. Guardian angels, he taught, belong to the lowest choir, not because they are lesser, but because they are closest to humanity, willing to descend into our density and confusion to walk with us. The higher choirs contemplate God directly, while guardian angels, humbly, kneel beside humanity in our struggles. The Kabbalists agreed, though with their own language. They saw angels as emanations aligned with the 10 Sephirot, each connected to an aspect of divine wisdom. Your guardian angel, therefore, was thought to vibrate in resonance with your soul's unique place in the tree of life, making them both deeply personal and cosmically ordered. But here arises a contradiction. If guardian angels are so personal, why do some mystics insist that they are not yours at all? Islamic mystics, for example, described angels as servants of God alone. They are not assigned pets for humans, but divine agents whose loyalty is only to the Creator. They assist you not because you own them, but because aiding your journey is part of a much larger symphony of divine will. This perspective humbles the ego. The angel walks with you not for your sake alone, but because you are a thread in the fabric of God's greater design. Another hidden truth is that angels do not always appear in the way we expect. Popular imagination paints them with wings of light and faces of perfect beauty. Yet in mystical visions, angels often appear terrifying, beings of immense power whose presence shatters complacency. In the Bible, nearly every angelic encounter begins with the words, "Do not be afraid." Why? Because to stand in the presence of an intelligence unclouded by ego is to be confronted with the raw truth of your own soul. Guardian angels comfort, yes, but they also awaken, and awakening is rarely comfortable. Even stranger is the teaching that sometimes guardian angels withdraw. Certain mystical texts describe periods when the angel seems absent, allowing the soul to feel lost or abandoned. But this absence itself is a teaching, much like the silence of a master teacher who refuses to spoon-feed the student. It is in these moments of spiritual solitude that we develop strength, clarity, and trust in the divine plan. Then, when the angel returns, their presence is recognized more clearly than ever. Perhaps the most profound nuance is this: guardian angels are not only protecting us from outer danger, but from ourselves. Think of how often humans sabotage their own destiny through fear, greed, or pride. Esoteric wisdom suggests that the angel's greatest work is to keep us aligned with the inner path, shielding us not from every difficulty, but from choices that would sever us from our soul's true purpose. Sometimes this means allowing pain, for pain itself becomes a teaching that refines the soul like fire refines gold.
But can one lose their guardian angel? Some traditions say no, that the angel never abandons you. Others warn that willful rejection of truth, indulgence in cruelty, or repeated turning away from inner light can cause the angel to step back, not out of punishment, but because free will cannot be violated. The angel waits patiently until the soul calls again, like a faithful friend standing silently at the door, waiting for you to invite them back in. Another hidden layer is the role of angels in death and transition. In nearly every tradition, angels are described as guides who lead the soul beyond the body. The guardian angel, in particular, is said to stand at the threshold, ensuring that the soul does not lose its way in the passage between worlds. In this sense, their guardianship does not end with physical death, it continues, shepherding the soul towards its next stage of existence. So the mystery deepens. Guardian angels are not merely figures of comfort, but initiators of transformation. They are both gentle whispers and fierce awakeners, both protectors from danger and mirrors of the destiny we often fear to face. They will not live our lives for us, but they will stand beside us as we dare to live them fully. This is why many mystics insist that to cultivate awareness of your guardian angel is not to seek safety, but to seek truth. To truly perceive them is to perceive yourself, not as a fragile creature lost in chaos, but as a soul walking a path guided by forces of divine intelligence, love, and purpose.
If the hidden truth about guardian angels is not simply that they exist, but that they are active participants in our journey, then the most important question becomes, how can we consciously connect with them? Ancient mystics taught that it is not enough to believe in angels. One must learn to cultivate awareness of their presence and to open the subtle channels through which their guidance flows. Let us begin with a simple principle. Angels speak in whispers, not in shouts. Their presence is subtle, like a feather falling in a storm. If your mind is cluttered with noise, distractions, and constant activity, their voice is easily drowned out. This is why nearly every spiritual tradition emphasized silence and stillness. Through meditation, prayer, or mindful breathing, you create space for the angel's guidance to be heard. A practice you can begin immediately is the evening reflection. Before sleep, sit quietly in a darkened room. Breathe deeply, release the tensions of the day, and then ask inwardly, "Guardian of my soul, show me what I need to see." Hold no expectation of visions or voices. Simply invite. Often the answer will come not in that moment, but in your dreams or as a sudden clarity the next morning. By repeating this nightly, you attune your mind to their frequency. Another method is to observe synchronicity. Guardian angels rarely interfere with brute force. Instead, they weave meaning through coincidence. Have you ever thought of someone only to have them call you moments later? Or opened a book at random to find the exact phrase that answers your question? These are classic ways in which guidance manifests. Keep a journal of such events. Over time, patterns will emerge, showing you that the invisible hand is more active than you realized. Visualization can also be powerful. One traditional exercise is to imagine yourself surrounded by light, then to picture a luminous presence standing just behind your right shoulder. Whether you see it as wings of light, a sphere of radiance, or simply a felt sense of warmth, the key is consistency. The more often you sit in this visualization, the more real the presence becomes. Not because you are inventing it, but because you are tuning into a reality that has always been there. But there are obstacles too. One of the greatest is doubt. The rational mind often scoffs. This is imagination. It's just me talking to myself. But here lies the paradox. Even if the voice of guidance is subtle, the fruits it produces are unmistakable. If following an intuition leads consistently to greater peace, clarity, and alignment with your values, then whether it is just imagination or truly angelic ceases to matter.
The transformation itself is proof. Another obstacle is fear. Some hesitate to connect, worrying they might encounter deception or darker forces. The esoteric answer is simple. Intention shapes the door you open. When your call is sincere, rooted in love, and directed toward the divine, the resonance of your energy acts like a key that only beings of light can respond to. Fear closes the channel. Trust opens it. There is also a practical way to strengthen the bond: acts of alignment. Guardian angels, according to mystics, vibrate with purity and truth. When you act with integrity, compassion, and courage, you come closer to their frequency. Every act of cruelty, dishonesty, or selfishness clouds the channel. Every act of kindness clears it. Thus, connecting with your angel is not only about prayer or meditation, it is about how you live, moment to moment. And finally, consider the practice of direct conversation. You need not wait for dreams or synchronicities. Speak to your guardian angel as if to a trusted friend. Share your fears, ask for clarity, or simply thank them for their presence. Then remain attentive, not in strained expectation, but in quiet openness. The answer may not be words. It may be a sudden peace, a shift in perception, or a door opening where none seemed possible. By integrating these practices, silence, synchronicity, visualization, alignment, and conversation, you begin to move from belief into experience. Guardian angels cease to be abstract symbols and become living presences whose companionship you can feel. And here lies the most profound truth. Connecting with your guardian angel does not distance you from life. It draws you deeper into it. For when you walk with awareness of their presence, you begin to trust the path, even the difficult steps. You realize you are not wandering in chaos, but participating in a guided unfolding, one step at a time.
From the beginning of our journey, we asked a simple but profound question. What is the hidden truth about guardian angels? We have traveled through history, explored philosophy, unraveled paradoxes, and looked into practices that invite their presence into our lives. Now, it is time to gather these threads into a single vision. The hidden truth is this: guardian angels are not distant fairy tale figures, nor are they merely projections of imagination. They are intelligences of light, intimately connected to our destiny and profoundly invested in the awakening of our souls. They walk with us, not to shield us from every challenge, but to remind us of who we are when we forget. They hold the lantern when we stumble in darkness, yet they respect our freedom to choose whether or not to follow its light. Think of your life as a river winding toward the ocean of the divine. Sometimes the current is smooth, sometimes it crashes against rocks. You may not always see the direction, but your guardian angel is like the hidden undercurrent guiding you forward, ensuring that no matter how far you drift, you will ultimately find your way back to the source. What does this mean for you now, in the present moment? It means that you have never been alone, not once, not for a single breath. Even in your most silent suffering, even in the mistakes you regret, there was always a presence, watching patiently, whispering softly, waiting for you to listen. And the very fact that you are hearing these words today may itself be a sign, a nudge from that unseen companion, reminding you that your journey is guided. The invitation is simple yet profound. Begin to notice. Notice the quiet intuitions, the coincidences, the dreams that glow with hidden meaning.
Notice how certain acts of kindness or courage fill you with warmth that feels greater than yourself. Notice and then respond with gratitude, with openness, with the willingness to walk in deeper trust. Because when you cultivate awareness of your guardian angel, you are not merely making contact with some external being. You are awakening to the truth that your life is part of a divine design. You are stepping into a relationship with the luminous intelligence that has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it. So tonight, before you sleep, I invite you to try one thing. Sit in silence, breathe, and whisper, "Guardian of my soul, I am ready to listen." And then simply wait. Whether you feel a presence, receive a dream, or notice a small sign tomorrow, you will know that a door has been opened. The hidden truth about guardian angels is not just that they exist, it is that they exist for you. They walk with you, they believe in you, and they never stop guiding you toward the greater light of who you truly are. Now the rest is up to you. Will you walk through life unaware, thinking yourself alone? Or will you begin to listen to the gentle voice that has always been there,